Hi, welcome to today's lesson on literature 01. So today we'll be considering the definition of prose fiction or prose fiction as a whole. So what is prose fiction first off? Prose fiction refers to a type of literary work that is written in ordinary language without a metrical structure like poetry. So it encompasses a wide range of narrative forms including novels, short story and novellas. So prose fiction often explores themes, characters and plots in a fictional setting, allowing readers to engage with imaginative story and ideas. So what are the key characteristics of prose fiction? In order to understand prose fiction, there are various key characteristics we need to consider, and one of them is the narrative structure or the narrative writing. In the sense that prose fiction typically follows a narrative structure with a beginning, middle, and end. So the story is often told through a sequence of events, character development, and plot twists. So we also have imaginary elements in the sense that prose fiction often includes imaginary elements such as fictional characters, settings, and events. So these elements allow authors to explore complex ideas, themes, and emotions in a creative and engaging way. Then we have language and style, which prose fiction tends to bring about. Prose fiction is written in ordinary language without the rhythmic and structural constraints of poetry. So authors can experiment with different styles, tones, and language techniques to convey their message and create a unique reading experience. Then lastly, we have the theme and ideas in order to understand what prose fiction is all about. Theme and ideas in the sense that prose fiction tends to offer or explore complex themes and ideas such as love, identity, morality, and social justice. So authors use the narratives to convey their perspective and insights, encouraging readers to reflect on their own experience and values. So let's now move down to the next aspect of prose fiction, and that is the elements of prose fiction. So, what are the elements of prose fiction? As you can see on your screen, there are basically five elements of fiction. There we have the characters, plot, setting, point of view, and lastly theme. So these elements tend to captivate the reader's listening mood while reading a prose fiction. So, what are the narrative techniques in prose fiction? There are various narrative techniques used in prose fiction in order to convey stories or engage readers and create a specific effect. So one narrative technique in prose fiction includes the POV, that is the point of view. So under that point of view, we have first person point of view, third person point of view, and second person point of view. For the first person point of view, yeah, the narrator is a character within the story. Maybe let's say the narrator can often be a protagonist, and he tends to provide an intimate and personal perspective of the story he's telling about or talking about. Then we have the third person point of view, whereby the narrator is outside the story but he's describing the events and characters in the story. So this point of view can be limited, that is, it focuses on one character thoughts. So the third person point of view can also be known as a omniscient narrator, that is a character that knows everything about all other characters in the story. Then we have the second person point of view, where the narrator addresses the reader directly in order to draw them into the story. Then under the narrative technique also we have the plot structure, whereby we have both linear narrative and non-linear narrative. Then we have characterization, then we have symbolism and imagery, foreshadowing and suspense, stream of consciousness, dialogue, descriptive imagery, themes and motifs. So these are narrative techniques in prose fiction. Let's now move on to the other aspects of prose fiction, that is the forms of prose fiction. What are the forms of prose fiction? We have various forms of prose fiction. We have three major forms of prose fiction. For number one, we have the short story. Number two, we have the novella. Number three, we have the novel. For the short story, it has to do with a form of prose fiction, typically under 10,000 words, and it usually focuses on a single plot line and a few characters and a limited time frame, often culminating in a significant revelation or climax. So the example of authors under the short story aspect has to do with Alan Poe, where he wrote the short story called The Telltale Heart and also The Lottery. Then we have the novella, which is longer than a short story but shorter than a novel, ranging from 10,000 to 40,000 words. So novellas allow for more character development and plot complexity. As we remember before, said that short story allows just few characters, but novella allows for more characters. Then we have the novel, which is an extensive work of prose fiction, and it is usually over 40,000 words or more than that. So novels offer the broader scope for exploring multiple characters and diverse setting as well as complex theme over an extended period. So this form allows for deeper immersion and exploration of human experience. So we have example of a novel as Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen and also To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. You can read this novel at your leisure time. So each form of this prose fiction offers a different reading experience that allows authors to choose the ideal scope for their narrative. So let's now move on to the purpose and impact of prose fiction. What are the purpose and impacts of prose fiction? One purpose or impact of prose fiction is entertainment. Another purpose is for education. Thirdly, for cultural preservation, and lastly, for social critique. For entertainment, in the sense that it tends to offer an escape or a means of escape from difficult times and also helps to bring about pleasure in one's life and also provides engaging stories that captivate the imagination and also offer a break from reality. So for the educational purpose of prose fiction, it helps in expanding readers' knowledge of history, cultures, and human nature, as well as providing a powerful tool for informal learning and understanding. Then for the cultural preservation and social critique, you can see on your screen there the explanation there. Please just find time to go through it. Then I'll see you in the next lesson where we talk more on the origin of the novel. That is the 18th century England novel or English novel. Thank you very much.